Welcome to the Grace Fellowship podcast. We are so excited that you're here listening with us. We hope that today's episode will inspire and equip you to know and follow Jesus.
Welcome to the Grace Fellowship podcast. It is a great day as we're just kind of looking back at what we talked about on Sunday in our series, Everyone Needs Grace. Man, I love this series, and I love teaching it, and even really love getting to hear you teach on it. I told you before, I was like, oh man, you got the fun one. I really love this story, and just the way that God used you this week to speak through it. Before we get to that, this was Group Up Sunday, right? And so if you have not jumped into a life group yet, I can't emphasize it enough how important that is for your spiritual growth. We're here to inspire and equip people to know and follow Jesus. This is part of the inspiration. This is part of the equipping, is to surround yourselves with other followers of Jesus who can celebrate you, encourage you, and walk alongside you in that journey. You're never meant to do that alone.
Impossible.
Yeah. So the other part is, we celebrated this last week, student ministry.
Yeah, man.
This past week, student ministry it's really funny because I think it's fun the way God puts personalities together, because, I see it every week and be like, dude, this thing's it's gonna be so big. And Laine's going, hold on, we'll see. But so far, God is surprising us each week, and it's so cool what God's doing.
Which I guess like normal progression is that you kind of see things grow over the beginning of the fall in student ministry.
Yeah.
So when we launched as big as we did, I guess just as big as it was, I was like, we can't go up from here. So to still see
it's
growth.
Funny you say that, because that first night you said, I want all of us to go out and invite people in. And here he is saying, we can't grow. But if they all did what you told them God wanted them to do.
Dude. Well, and we're in such an evangelistic series on Wednesday night. We're in one on Sunday morning. And so... And it's always, dude, we know how it is with students. It's like, how often are people really listening and all this stuff? But the moment you tell them, like, hey, go fill the house, they're like, oh, I can go do that.
That's I'm in. Yeah, so it's been exciting. For those who weren't there Sunday, there were 400 kids this previous week, over 350, just right over 350. This week, 400 middle school and high school students. That's more than double what we were seeing last year. And that's just a move of God. There's a move of God happening in the next generation. So, hey, let's wake up. Let's celebrate. Let's push. Let's equip. Let's fuel the fire every chance we get.
Yeah. I mean, I saw today, like, multiple other churches in the area on Wednesday night as well have been packed out with students. And so it makes you imagine, like, man, when I walk into a high school in this place, there's just a lot of kids seeking after Jesus right now, which is super exciting.
I had a conversation with the student last night. It's the first time here. He's a football player, senior, and we just connected over the idea of football. And he said, yeah, I'm kind of an athlete, but I really want to get closer to God. Like it was just funny. And unfortunately at the moment I couldn't hear. We were in the lobby. It was loud. I was like, well, dude, you're in the right place, and I hope you keep coming back. Later I was laying in bed going, why didn't you just say, well, let's talk about that? But it was like in the moment, I was just even having a hard time hearing him, because there were so many kids there. It was so loud. It was awesome.
And moving so fast. It does feel like by the time you process it, you're like, oh, man, I did have those moments. How do we cover from that?
Yeah, but I think God's grace will be fine.
Yes, He'll cover. He'll take care of it.
So, so you kicked off message 3, the Grace Celebrates, yesterday, and you kind of let us off in an area that is close to my heart, Aggie football.
Yeah.
And just so y'all know, I didn't hire Laine because he was an Aggie. It was just a perk. All right. I finally have someone to suffer with, and we all need people in life to suffer with.
This is our first fall to be on staff together during Aggie football season, so it's going to be
There's gonna be prayer services and
staff prayer every week's gonna be.
Oh yeah, but it's hilarious. You said I've never been more excited to be let down.
Oh yeah, dude. You've got to start every season a little bit delusional.
Yeah.
Because I'm an Aggie fan, and I'm not like a good Cowboys fan. I didn't grow up being a Cowboys fan, but when I watch on Sunday, I'm roped into the Cowboys every year, and so it's like I just lose my whole weekend all fall, man.
Yeah,
like, it's a good thing that God's doing something incredible at Grace, because what's happening on my TV screen outside of that will probably be pretty upsetting. So
it's pretty much the only reason why I do fantasy football anymore is so that maybe, just maybe, I can get a win on the weekend. It may not be from one of my football teams.
Dude, for sure.
Anyway, so you kind of led off just kind of talking about the idea that we celebrate when what is lost is found, and there is nothing worse than it happened just last night. I get home, boys are in bed. I'm trying to just calm down, gear down a little bit, get ready, and I cannot find the remote.
Yeah, which is the worst when you're trying to calm down too, right? Because now it's like, well, now I'm worked up, man.
I'm like, I'm about to wake the boys up and make them get in here and find this remote.
Yes, I have probably in the last month woken up the girls, like, we put them to, it's like 5 minutes after we put them to bed and been like, dude, what did you do? Get out here. Start exploring.
So funny story. You talk about your Aggie ring yesterday and it, you don't want to lose it. Mm-hmm. My first year as the student pastor here at Grace Fellowship, maybe it was the second summer. I take the kids to Big Stuff Camp down in Panama City Beach. Mm-hmm. I'm throwing the football with a kid named Ryan Durbin, who was the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks in high schools around here. And we're throwing it on the beach, and literally all of a sudden I throw it and I feel my ring just take off. I guess it's weird because it was warm. I wouldn't think that would happen, but I was also sweat buckets. It's horrible. And so I throw it. I'm like, everybody stop. And we start looking. I get everybody to help me start looking and don't move a lot. Like just look around because we're in the sand. We looked for probably 15 minutes. Then Maggie Moore, so Mark Moore's daughter, she was in the student ministry. She comes out, just walks down from the condos, and she goes, "What are y'all looking for?" It's like, my Aggie ring. She literally reaches down right where she is, picks it up and goes, "Is this it?" I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, Maggie, if we have a little girl one day, they're going to be named Maggie. I'm like, this is awesome. But I'm telling you, I celebrated, and I'm still celebrating that moment. And, and that's really the point is it was something that was precious to me, something that was important to me, something that I wasn't going to get another one like that. I mean, you can order whatever, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And it was found, and I cherished it, and I cherished that moment, and I still remember that moment. Yeah. And so that's the kind of, and we probably all have a moment, whether it's lost keys, lost wallet. Poor Rocky, he loses his wallet more than just about any other human on the planet, I believe. But when you find that thing that you were sure you lost it. Yeah. And there it is. Holy moly, it's great.
Dude, I'm one of those guys, like, I don't like collect a lot of stuff, but I've got like a lot of hats, or I've got camp shirts from, the camp that I was doing for 14 years. And like, dude, if I'm doing laundry and I start to realize even one of those is missing, like, you can ask my wife, I'll be like, "Hey, where is that at?" And I'll stop everything I'm doing right then, plans for that day, dude. And I will look through the house for what was a free shirt from a thing, just because it's like, man, this thing means so much to me. And so everybody has that thing, or those things, that they've been in that tension of trying to find something, man.
So Jesus leaned into that tension. It's kind of what you're talking about. Starts with the lost sheep. We got the song.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
How does that song go?
It's Reckless Love, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he leaves the 99 and for the one, and what a beautiful story, picture. But 1 out of 100, 1/10, 10%. Still big deal. Oh, no, 1%, not 10%. We're gonna get to 10%, 10% next. 1%, but to a shepherd in those days, like that's massive. It was. So there's nothing small about that loss, and finding it's a big deal. Then you get, though, to the 10 silver
Yeah.
10 silver coins, which is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those is a big deal. It's 10%, but one silver coin was a big deal back then. It was you know, I think I remember at some point it was like about a week's worth of wages or so. And so, you know, she loses that.
Mm-hmm.
She finds it. And doesn't it say she calls her friends? I have to look at it again there, but she calls her friends and neighbors, man. It says, celebrate with me, right? Rejoice with me because I found my lost coin. Like, it's not just, she doesn't just celebrate for herself. She says, y'all have got to celebrate with me. This is an incredible moment, which I love that. We'll get to that why in a minute. But like, she calls people around her to say, hey, this moment is worth celebrating, and I want you to be in on the celebration. And then you turned it to, or walked into that next story. But really the point that Jesus was setting up and building the tension was, and you leaned into it, is wouldn't you search for what was lost?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you also kind of talked about it was that, so the lost sheep got itself lost. It was what it was, but it's just a sheep, right? They're not that bright. Lost coin didn't lose itself, didn't have intention, whatever.
Yeah.
But then lost son. Lost son's a little bit different.
Yeah. He's
because he made the decision to go elsewhere.
And he didn't just get a little bit. Like, he does everything wrong, right? I love the idea of thinking through, like, and because this is a common thing, right? Like parents of teenagers that would talk about, like, oh man, all of a sudden my kid is doing this, or they've got this group of friends, or they're making these decisions, or they don't want to live with us anymore. Like, that's not an uncommon conversation.
Yeah.
And so to imagine that, like, hey, this is what's going on, what would our advice be to those people? How would we treat them? How would we treat our kids? Like, if your own kid came to you and was about to treat you that way and want those things, we can really start to resonate with that story, which I think is what Jesus does so good with stories, right? Like, you're listening to him, you go, yeah, I know these things.
Yeah.
So
gets lost, and you know, one of the things that stood out to me, well, you said, what about the people who are lost? Mm-hmm. And he gets into that story. He gets himself lost, doubles down. I mean, it's bad. And then he comes back home, and he's convinced, I no longer can be a son.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and be a servant, though, because even the servants are better than where I am.
Yeah.
And I love that picture, partly because I think that's the way many people feel because of what the enemy lies to him. Mm-hmm. The enemy, Father never said he wasn't worthy of being a son, right? The enemy tells us, hey, you're not worthy of God's love. You're not worthy. You've done too much. And really, that's what tells us that we're going to come back to God, but you're never going to be a son. You're never going to have that kind of relationship with God. You've messed up too much. Really, it's a lie of the enemy to say, hey, you've gone so far that God will forgive you. Mm-hmm. He's just not going to love you like he might have before.
Well, and it's one of the things I didn't talk about, but I was wrestling through in writing, right, is this idea that, like, celebration is always attached to worth, right? Like, we think about and being celebrated now, right? Like, I think about the, like, Instagram post for a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, that it's their birthday or it's this and that, right? And, like, a very common phrase is like, hey, you are worth celebrating. And it's like, okay, well, there's so much attached to that, right? Like, I'm worth celebrating because I do X, Y, and Z for you relationally, or I do this stuff. And everybody carries with them to some extent, right? Like, but what about when I am not worth celebrating?
That's good.
And I think so the lies that he feels, that's the lie that everybody feels, is that we do come to a recognition that's like, hey, celebration is inherently connected to worth.
Yeah.
And I know right now that I am not worth that.
Yeah.
And I am not worthy of that.
Yeah.
And that's just a difficult place to be, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And really that's part of the picture of grace, right? Mm-hmm. It's saying, yeah, you're right. Maybe you have not earned this celebration. Maybe you don't feel like you've done the things to deserve the celebration.
Yeah.
That's what grace is.
Yeah.
It's unmerited favor of God.
Yeah.
It's him saying, I'm not celebrating you because of your performance or because of your failures or that has nothing to do. I celebrate you because I say your value, and I get to say. And that's what I love about this, because the Father looks at you far differently than the other son, right?
Yeah.
The Father looks at you and says, no way. I'm not going to define you by what you've done.
Yeah.
Right? I define you by who I say that you are, and I say you're my son. You're trying to be a servant. I don't need a servant. I want a son, and I want you to come into my family. And so in that moment, there's just such a celebration, and man, that's such a good deal. Celebration is attached to worth.
Yeah.
And it's not worth that's based on what we've done. It's really worth based on what Jesus has done. Really, when it comes down to it, it's worth based on our worth is based on what Jesus says about us. So then the point, really kind of the home run point, is that real grace celebrates when what was lost is found. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the emphasis of this that Jesus is trying to get across. So my question I want us to wrestle with for a second is, why do we struggle to celebrate when the lost is found?
Yeah.
When lost people are found.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, I think that a lot of people would be able to say from a distance, like, hey, you hear a really dramatic testimony, you hear a really hard thing before baptism or whatever, but you don't maybe have like the relational depth with that person, that their struggle, their thing didn't affect you, right? It didn't hurt you directly or anything like that. And we go, oh, we can celebrate that because from afar, that person is getting better or whatever it is. And we believe that God can do something there. It's really in like the relational trenches of the people that are closest to us that we go, oh, people will never change, or this thing can never happen. And I think a lot of it comes down to a little bit of pride and just that, like, hey, I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be stepped on. I don't want to be a doormat. I don't want to be, abused to the situation of like, hey, that they're just going to embarrass me because I thought that they had changed and then they didn't. Right. Yeah. And so it comes back of like this reflection of self and don't you think that the neighbors of the Father, can you imagine, right? Like, again, like imagine that you're sitting down with a friend and they're like, oh, this is what my son did. But then he came home the other day and it's like, oh, are you going to make him pay back what he spent? And he just goes, no, I got out the Blackstone and we threw a rager in the middle of the neighborhood, right? And you would be like, how's he going to learn anything? How's he going to this, that? And so I think it's the perspective. It's worried, man, how will people see me for celebrating and even aligning with or resonating with this person for the change that has taken place? And some of it is like, I don't know if we really believe that drastic change can take place, because if we're honest with ourselves, because we don't do grace well, because we maybe don't walk with Jesus well or share Jesus well, a lot of us don't have that, like a massive collection of stories of seeing that kind of change take place within someone. So it still feels otherworldly, miraculous, the stuff of biblical stories only. Yeah.
I think that's a big piece of it. I think part of the issue is that it's still a journey. And so often we struggle to celebrate because we're going, well, let's see how the journey goes. Or we celebrate, we say, hey, we'll celebrate when they hit the finish line.
Yeah. Which is death.
Yeah. But once they've, rather than celebrating the moment of saying, hey, I want to walk a new path. Yeah. That's really what they're saying. They're not saying I'm perfect. This is the whole deal of perfection and direction, right?
Yeah.
That it's not perfection. They're not saying, they're saying, hey, I'm trying, I'm convinced, really. I need to go in a new direction. And we're going, well, when you start looking like you're on that path, then we'll see you. But I also wonder if part of it, because I also think about why was the son so offended by the party? Yeah. Why was he so mad? Right? And maybe there was hurt there. Maybe there was offense there. He hurt the family. He watched his dad suffer. Yeah. And so, he had experienced the pain of the failure of the younger son.
For sure.
And probably felt betrayed in himself. Yeah. So he wasn't ready to celebrate maybe for a lack of forgiveness. But also he said, I've always, right?
Yeah, it feels like he's owed something.
Right?
Yeah.
Self-righteousness. And it made me think of the story that Jesus tells in Matthew chapter 20, where he talks about a landowner who went out early one morning, hired some vineyard workers, and agreed to pay a normal daily wage and sent them out to work. And then at 9 o'clock in the morning, he sent some more people out, agreed to pay them whatever was right at the end of the day, is what he says. And then did it again at noon, and 3 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock that afternoon, he saw some people standing around. And he says, "Have you not been working today?" He said, "No one's hired us." So the landlord tells him, "Well, then go out and join the others," right? And that evening, when they brought them all in to pay them, he began with the last workers first, and they all received a full day's wage. And when it came to the first workers, they get to the pay and assume they'd receive more, right? They were owed more. They worked more. They did more. They earned it, right? They were paid the same amount. And when they received their pay, they were angry, and says they protested to the owner. "Those people worked only 1 hour, and you paid them as much as you paid us." And he answered, "Friend, I haven't been unfair. Didn't you agree to work all day for the usual wage? Take your money and go. I wanted to pay this last worker the same as you. Is it against the law for me to do what I want to do? So should you be jealous because I am kind to others? So those who are last now will be first, and those who are first will be last." And so for me, when I read that story, one of the things that jumps out to me is I think a lot of times the reason we get angry is, as the older son, is we're going, "Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We've been doing this far longer. Why would they get the same grace we did?
Yeah.
Why should they have the same standing with God that I do?"
Yeah.
Right? Really, that's the picture that I see here. It's like, wait, what we're saying is that's not fair.
Yeah.
You're right. Praise God.
Yeah.
Because what would be fair
Is it none of you?
is that
Get
nobody,
paid, right?
nobody gets grace. Grace is not based on what's fair.
Yeah.
It's based on God's unmerited, it's on his unfailing love. And so I don't know. That was just something that I think about when I think that question of, why is the son so mad?
Yeah. Dude, what we're owed is, I think, such a massive barrier into understanding how the kingdom of heaven works, to compare it to anything else in the physical world, right? Because we're so worried about what we're owed. We're so worried about receiving that. And we do that really everywhere. I always joke, like, with as kids are getting older and they're entering like the junior and senior year, and it's like, oh, well, now that we're seniors in student ministry, we maybe get this, or we have seniority, or we're owed this because we've been here the whole time. Or kids who want to step into leadership positions. And man, I faithfully walked with Jesus. I've been here all the time. I'm owed this in student ministry. And I used to always still do work with, I'm a little bit more gracious about it now, or I try to be, but it's like, hey, just to be clear, like, what you're owed in the kingdom of heaven is for you to wash feet.
Yeah.
Like what the last will be first, it's, there is no seniority in the kingdom of heaven. No. Some of us kind of grew up with like the old jewels and the crown idea, right? Like, I'm going to have a bigger house in heaven. And it's like,
which, by the way, I think student pastors are going to have bigger houses because of all the junior high band concerts they've gone to.
Time.
And
dude, I used to
Jesus bucks. We're getting y'all. Look, I think that they're getting rich.
Dude,
that's what I'm saying.
JV tennis games were some of the first things that I went to in my first year in student ministry, and that was yes. But you just sit there and it's like, we're so convinced that even the Lord is going to reward the same way that the world does, and it's like, no, the kingdom of heaven is upside down. It is so opposite of everything you believe about how any of that works. And that is the good news. Yeah. Because if it worked the same way that everything else did, it would be bad news for you too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. So any other thoughts on why we struggle to celebrate when lost people?
I love what you said. I hadn't thought about it, about just being on, hey, what people are saying is they're ready to begin a journey. Think about all the other journeys that people go, and the running world, right? Like, someone will want to start running, and maybe they'll come to me and they'll say, oh, I want to start running, or, well, I only run a couple times a week, or, well, I'll go, but I can only run a mile. I'm not really a runner. And it's like, yeah, what's the definition of being a runner or doing a thing? Someone who runs. Yeah. Someone who does this. Why would you think that I would not be excited for you or honor you or celebrate what you would classify as the little that you are doing? Like, I want to celebrate that, and I want to invite you to a greater journey. Yeah. If that's something that you want to be a part of. But to someone to come and say, hey, I've been, destroying my body. I've been doing whatever. Like, I'm so far from something, but I do want to begin to experience something that's going to be good for me in the long run and exciting to be a part of. We don't come to them and go like, oh no, one day when you run a marathon or an ultra marathon or you do the big stuff, then you'll be the real deal. No, man, we just celebrate that someone's wanting to experience change.
Yeah.
So it should be with faith.
Yeah. So what do you feel like it looks like to celebrate when the lost come home? How do we do that? How do we do that well?
So, okay, this is something that I was thinking about. One, if celebration is tied to worth, and I just thought about that as we were talking, I think one, celebrating people just for being who they are, not attached to what they've done, even before it has anything to do with returning from dead things, old things, sinful things. I think when we get a pattern of that, that begins to set a foundation, right? Because that's so unheard of in our relationships, right? Like we just are. Whatever your version of being celebrated or loved or whatever, there's so few times that we experience that as not being attached to our performative value, right? Like you're a middle child, you get it. We joke about that. Jess gives us a hard time, but like, that does fuel my ability to preach well or to do things well. And it's not for someone to come up to me and say, hey, I really thought that you preached well today. It's like, hey, thank you. That means a lot. But at the end of the day, that affirmation is attached to the value or what I've done in that space. But to just come up and just, hey man, I just love, you didn't do anything today. I just love you. Here's this. Here's this gift, or here's the thing, or here's this celebration. Man, I just want to celebrate who you are. Dude, that happens almost never for anyone.
Right.
But when we get in that pattern, I do think that we can then begin to go, hey, maybe these people just love me. They love celebrating me.
Yeah.
Without that. But then two, I think I don't know the physical parts of it maybe, but I do just think, man, celebrating early and often.
Yeah.
And telling the stories and identifying them in other people. So people can see us celebrate other people's stories. Will help us along the way. So that way we go, hey, I know this person celebrates over here.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they'll begin to celebrate if they see the change that's taken place in my life.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that's so hard because you see it so rarely. So it's hard to be like, well, here's what we did over here.
Yeah.
I joke like, I think I wrote it in, but maybe didn't use it and stuff like that. But like, how many of us have dads that just ran to us and loved us at our worst?
Yeah.
And didn't say like, hey, you've messed up everything. Hey, pay all this back. Hey, do all this. Like immediately held us to the fire. Yeah. How many of us have been those dads? It's just so few and far between.
Right.
And it makes the story hard to resonate with. But I do think celebrating even when someone hasn't done anything is huge, even on the front end of that.
Yeah. I think anyway we can find ways to communicate value and worth to them as they come back through that door, right? The thing you've heard this before with students who've wondered, and I would talk to them and be like, hey, come on back, man, we miss you. And they're like, everybody's going to look at me. I was like, the only reason everybody looks at you is because the door opened and they're just looking to see who came through the door. I'm telling you, we want you back. But I love, with y'all shirts, it says, come sit with us, right? Yeah. That's how you celebrate when the lost come home, is you say, hey, come sit with me.
Yeah, right next to me, yeah.
Like think about the way the Father honored, we run to him. We see him coming. Hey, Laine, what's up, man? I'm so glad you're here. Hey, why don't you sit with me tonight? And hey, come to my small group. Come to my life group. It's a deal. We don't stand in the corner and be like, oh my gosh, can you believe that they're here? No, we go out of our way. We and also, some people may not realize this. In the day that this was written, a man running was incredibly undignified.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But he did that in a demonstration of worth and value for the son.
Yes.
That he was seeking and watching the horizon, waiting for the first sign of the son coming home, and he was on his way. And I just think about that with an anticipation that as we come to church, as we come to life groups, come to these different places, are we leaning in with anticipation that someone who's been lost is coming home, and are we ready for them when they come? Like it's not, hey, let's go and just hang out with other people who've, they're safe, but we're leaning in and going, who's the lost one coming home this week?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait. They're going to sit with me. I don't know who it is, but they're going to sit with me. And we're inviting those lost ones to come. And the moment they come, and I've seen people here, man, they've been inviting. And I've watched them stand at the West Entry with me before and going, I've been inviting my neighbor for 7 weeks and they're coming this morning. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's the way the Father looks at us. He's standing at the entrance going, he's coming. I can't wait. He's coming, right? And so, inviting them to sit with us, and he puts a robe on him and a finger and whatever, a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet. He says, you don't have to earn your way in.
Mm-hmm.
You're in.
Yeah.
And that's what I look at here is hey, how do we become a church that people walk in and they know that they're in before they even realize what it is? They feel this warmth of, man, I didn't even know that many people, but I feel like I left with a lot of best friends, or people who cared about me and they want me to come back, right?
Yeah, man.
And so I don't know. That's, as I look at that story, it's like, man, how do we create that kind of environment? Because really, one of the questions you asked, or really one of the statements you made, is that people will know that Jesus celebrates them when the church does.
Yeah.
And I want to be a church that celebrates.
Yeah.
I want to be a person that celebrates.
Yeah.
When they're lost. I don't think Jesus is ever going to get angry with me for celebrating someone who said they were coming back home and didn't do well.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like, I loved your heart, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think he's going to be like, why did you celebrate them?
Yeah.
Right? That you should have waited till they proved it.
Yes.
They're not going to, that's not the way Jesus operates. He's going, no, I want you to be a people that celebrates. That's the point Jesus is trying to make.
Yeah, I think that's just thinking through always of what's the worst that's going to happen? Yeah. We're afraid of being a doormat or whatever. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to be a doormat. Who cares? Yeah. You're not accountable to those things. You're accountable to how you treat people and welcoming them back home. So, man, I love that.
Because here's the other thing I know is that I truly believe, and I've seen it, you've seen it too, people want to make that journey down the new road. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean they're going to get it right. And when they get it wrong, no one is more critical of themselves than them.
Dude, yeah.
They're beating themselves up. The last thing they need is for someone staring at them going, wait, just wait, it's going to happen. I told you. Mm-hmm. Now, what they need is people going, no, you got this. Hey, it's all right. Come on. So you made a bad step. Mm-hmm. Get back on track.
Yeah.
Celebrators who are saying, hey, I'm not asking you to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you to just continue. To persevere, to keep walking with us. You know what I'm saying? Because I really believe that celebration is part of the transformation process. For sure. And I think people I need it, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
when you go run a marathon, and that is something you'll never catch me doing on purpose. I say that.
It's
Lord,
a long chase.
Lord, please don't tell me to do that. I don't know. I don't see a reason why God would tell me to do that. But there's people along the way, right? And I don't know how much that fuels your run. I don't know how that works, but
it is. It's so funny. People, and so in marathon you have world majors, which are that's your Boston Marathon, your big stuff, and those really are lined up for 26 miles, and it is the wildest experience of your entire life, and it 100% changes everything. Because I've run a marathon where I didn't see anyone until I'm always looking for my wife, and she'll be at every point that she can be at, and it's just to see how I'm doing, how she's doing. And one that I ran up in Washington one time, I couldn't see her till mile 13, and it was so long. Yeah. It was so long, and I didn't see her again until 26, and that's exhausting, man. But when you get to see people all along the way, it's just so hard to fall apart. So hard to fall apart. So it's very real, dude.
So that brings us to life groups, why that matters.
Yes, right? Yes.
Because we need our crew. Yeah. We need our crew celebrating us every marker along the way, because there's going to be moments that fatigue sets in, that frustration sets in, that it's painful, that man, I'm not sure if I want to keep running. And we need the people along the way going, come on, you got this, let's go. Yeah, we're for you. We're in your corner. We're going to add fuel to your fire. That's why life groups matter, right? Because because it's part of the celebration.
Yeah.
Celebration of our transformation, and that keeps us going. And I just always wonder, what if it's the encouragement that they needed? So really, I guess the question that some people may ask is just, what's the difference between enabling and celebrating?
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think?
Well, one of the things that I think I love about this story is you look at the younger brother. He's aware I've sinned against heaven and God. I'll settle for even being a slave in your house. He's not coming back and saying like, hey, take me back as is.
Yeah.
Take me back. Hey, I'm sorry, whatever it is. I don't want anything to change at all. He comes with a heart and a spirit that clearly shows I understand the level of brokenness.
Yeah.
And I think when we're working on celebrating, being able to discern, hey, do they understand the level of brokenness? That doesn't mean they need to answer to every piece of it, like all this kind of stuff. We have to be worried about that. But I do think we can be good about being like, hey, does this person just want nothing to change? Or do they understand their level of brokenness? Yeah. And whenever people understand their level of brokenness, I'm way more prone to jump right in and be able to celebrate.
Yeah, I think there's this idea of repentance in the restoration process. That yes, repentance is the beginning, restoration is the process, and Jesus brings us back and celebrates us as is. But he still goes, but let's work on some things, right? Yeah. There's the idea of, are you coming back with, like, there's no entitlement, right?
Yeah.
He's not coming back with a sense of entitlement of going, well, I'm still your son, so you got to take me back.
Yeah,
right?
He doesn't come back and say, hey, I'm out of money. He's not like a college kid whose bank account ran dry. Let me get that back. He comes back broken and wanting
says,
to learn how to be a son again.
I'm just willing to do whatever. I'm just happy to be back in the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important, because I think that when you do, if you end up as the son that comes back, it's not coming back to him and saying, well, y'all have to forgive me, and God's grace says that and so, y'all need to treat me like this never happened before. Yeah. Well, we will get there.
Yeah.
Right? But trust takes time.
Yeah.
And it takes time and a pattern of behavior that builds the trust, right? But when there was behavior that broke the trust, now it takes a pattern of behavior to build it back.
For sure.
It doesn't rebuild. But it doesn't mean that someone doesn't love you or hasn't extended grace to you or isn't excited for you just because they're not willing to go, oh, let's pretend like it never happened. No, that's not part of the process. In fact, I think it's part of the process of building trust. That's the transformation in us that we need. Is that we're saying, God, I don't need anything. I just need you. And if you decide to do more in me, I'll wait on you. I'll trust you, because I recognize I don't deserve any of it.
For sure.
So I'm just happy to be back in the house.
Yeah.
And trust him with that. So, well, dude, I love this message. I love the idea that grace celebrates. The party is more fun when we're all there. Any final thought on just this idea of grace celebrates, and we want to be a church that celebrates?
Man, I just think if we learn to celebrate with other people when they experience transformation, they take first steps towards transformation. One, I think we're going to have just a lot of fun as a church. I think we're going to have a better understanding of the good news of Jesus for other people and for ourselves, because we may find ourselves as the younger brother at some point in time.
Absolutely.
Nobody plans to blow up their life.
No.
We can all find ourselves there. And I think a church that has a deep understanding of what grace means for themselves and for other people, I think those are the kind of churches that get to change communities and change the world. And I really think that's the depth of it.
Yeah. This is key to the hope we have. This is key to the joy that we have.
Sure.
It's really key to everything about our relationship with God. And it's something that everyone needs, because I truly believe this is not just a slogan. Everyone needs grace.